Hello, Philip coming to you from Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. Today I bring you letter number 4, and this is called My Introduction to Natural Healing, Part 3. Dear friend, I bid you a happy day. Our 4th letter already. How time flies when we're having fun. This week I bring you the final part of the story of my introduction to natural healing. Before we resume the tale, why we need to promote our own wellness. Health and well-being and making it the default feature of our life is the whole purpose of these letters during 2024. We want to live a good human life with purpose, plenty of fun, joy, creativity, productivity, good relationships with all, and the glorious energy of love flowing into and around our consciousness and back out into the world. This is not too much to ask for, not at all. This is about reconnecting with our human essence, our very birthright as human beings, which our schooling suppressed from all of us. It's about heart-based living with open, curious and compassionate minds. Good health in body, mind and spirit is the essential foundation for a happy and meaningful life. We must build it for ourselves. I feel that sharing my full experience that transformed my own life will act as a suitable G-up and inspiration to you to make your own changes, and perhaps to illustrate I like to live my life with full integrity. Integrity is the basis for making happiness come into our life. We all need natural healing because we live in a toxic world, one which humankind has somehow created for itself over many decades or even centuries. We have become seemingly addicted to chemicals, which are nearly all toxic to our health and well-being, and they are absolutely everywhere in all facets of our life. Yet we worry about colds, flus and various ailments and run for pills to fix ourselves. What nobody taught us is that pain and illness are the body's efforts to detoxify itself. Out of our lack of knowledge, we inadvertently get in our own way, and we then cannot avoid getting in the way of our own children. We need to liberate ourselves first if we wish to liberate the next generation. Sorry to say, but 2020 revealed to all those who are prepared to see the elephant in the room that humanity, as a collective, is sadly ignorant about physical health and psychological well-being matters. We have outsourced the role of the natural world and God to men and women in white coats and their pills and needles. We say, just trust the science, but we ignore the lessons that nature offers us. That's not intelligent. Our healthcare system only treats the symptoms and has nothing to teach us about the root causes or how we heal ourselves. That's not intelligent, but it is profitable. There's a gigantic amount of money involved in treating our health woes, and if we were all happy and healthy, all that profit would dry up. The business wants repeat customers. It's up to each of us to not be one of those repeat customers. Wellness nor illness arrives by accident. We either work for our wellness or are forced to deal with our illness. Nearly all allopathic medicines carry side effects, which over time will start manifesting in our body and mind in ways that bring us more suffering or pain. Some of them have instant effects, and as I said, none of them address the root causes of our ill health. Okay, preamble over. Let's get back to the tale. After we finish the story, no, cancel that bit. If you've not read part 1 or not listened to part 1 or part 2, you'll find those in letter number 2 and letter number 3, respectively. So the tale resumes. So I saw the good lady doctor at her Ayurveda centre in Chiang Mai town centre on the Monday, and on my 4th night's sleep on Thursday, I slept right through to the morning without waking up to my usual back pain. Wow, wow, wow. Furthermore, I was now realising, from this rather strange feeling of a more flexible, more alive version of my body, that I had got used to various other niggles and tensions because they had gone too. I also felt clear-headed, energetic, and rather joyful, It felt like a miracle, rewards coming to me so quickly. On the Friday afternoon, I headed off on the 3-hour journey to my favourite resort and my favourite place, Pai, in the whole of northern Thailand. My pool team would have to do without its skipper. You may recall from part 2 that I wanted to avoid drinking beer for the 2 weeks before meeting with the doctor again, and that at that time of my life, going to the pub on a Friday for our pool match and not drinking beer would be frankly impossible. I had a super healthy and tasty dinner at the resort, as always cooked up by owner and good friend Ong, using ingredients from their garden. Her food was always to die for, and in my super healthy week it now seemed entirely appropriate. Their resort also lies in some of the most gorgeous natural scenery of anywhere that I've been. I idly wondered to myself when I had last gone a Friday evening without beer and not at the pub. I was unable to determine the answer. I went to bed early and slept beautifully. After a super healthy, tasty breakfast in their garden, situated by a large fishing lake with the nearby mountains looking stunning, I took the half-hour walk into town through the paddy fields, taking in all the bucolic beauty, bird song and insect life. My body and mind were electrified with joy and vitality. Mindfulness in glorious technicolor action. I was feeling on top of the world with all this grand food and the heavenly tropical nature, and now with a body that was flying with zest and a new quest filling my mind. Pai is such a beautiful small town with so many great little eating and drinking places with natural whole foods grown in the valley there. The Pai River is central to everything, running right through the valley floor. It was the perfect place for me to be in at this very moment of my life. Now in town and walking along the bottom road of the town, which is set against the river, I came across a familiar sight which in the past I had always simply walked on by. It was called the Good Life Herbal Restaurant. And previously, so I thought, it had nothing to offer me. What did I want with herbal thingamajigs? I used to think, somewhat derisively. Beer was my tipple. Beer gave me the good life. Who needed herbs? Oh, how we can be so shaped by our ingrained perspectives and habits. But on this occasion, as I got adjacent to it, a funny thing happened. My body, by its own accord, turned left, and I found myself entering this strange sanctum. My mind barely had a chance to imagine what I might find, because my body just took me in there before I could stop myself. I didn't emerge until late afternoon. What an amazing Aladdin's cave of foods, drinks, brews, potions, powders, herbs, plants and books it was, just as its name suggested. Look what I had been missing all that time. It had a sort of bohemian design inside, with chairs hanging from the roof, big shared wooden tables to sit at, hundreds of books, all related to health, nutrition, wellness and travel, and it sort of felt like somebody's large living room. Nice sweet herbal smells and home cooking scents permeated the place. Somewhat dazed, I sat down and a girl brought me the menu. It was packed with all kinds of healthy food options and full of information. It also revealed dozens of different teas, black teas, green teas, oolong teas, white teas, pu'ers, from Thailand and other Asian countries. Also on offer were kefir and kombucha, which I'd never heard of, smoothies, juices and other assorted concoctions, as many different drinks as foods. As I took in my surroundings in this cave of wonders, I saw lots of grass growing in oblong plant pots all along one side of the restaurant that opened out to the street, which turned out to be wheatgrass for making wheatgrass juice. Who on earth ate and drank grass? In my beer guise, I would be making mooing sounds to laugh at this idea. Drinking grass? Several traveller-looking people were in the restaurant, and all clearly enjoying life with smiles, laughter, conviviality and conversation filling the airwaves. I overheard bits and pieces which ramped up my curiosity. I had never been anywhere like this. It was a heaven and a haven, and for years I had turned my nose up at this place. I ordered a vegetarian meal and the kombucha recommended to me by a chap in there, and started digging into the books. I'm a book lover, a knowledge junkie, and I love learning. And here were lots of books full of information on health and diet and everything to do with wellness. What I was reading in my skimming and scanning of several books was blowing my mind, blowing my brain and mind wide open. Fermented foods and drinks, maca powder, colloidal silver, spirulina, algae, jagolan, juices, peppermint tea, lots of different other herbs, all the health benefits of these magic potions, and so it went on. I was nearly a week into my own health journey. Miracles were taking place in my body, revelations were filling my mind, and suddenly here I was in a temple of health and good fun, with all the people in there looking happy and the picture of good health and vitality. I got talking with some of them, mostly Americans, and I told them about my story and my new efforts to live in a healthy manner. They were very generous with their time and gave me patient explanations and answers to all my questions. As with the books, what they had to say was mind-blowing and super interesting and all new to me. I know the universe pushed my body into that wonderful place that afternoon, specifically to yank my mind wide open, now that I had given it a chance. Thereafter, I would go back every time I went to Pi, but nowadays the owner, a top man from Ukraine, has a second place, a little walk outside of the main town area. I now go there, but all the same healthy foods and drinks are still on the menu. Have you ever had a homemade milk kefir with a big spoonful of local forest honey stirred in? Sensational for the taste buds and so healthy for the body. Not long after, I began making my own kefir and also kombucha. I made lots of notes from the books I was looking at, agog at all the health information relating to diet and nutrition. This was not in mainstream media and had not been in any topic of conversation that I had ever known. My head was really spinning now. What a week this had been. Eventually, I dragged myself out of the Good Life Herbal Restaurant to walk back to the resort to shower and change for the evening. I recall Arsenal were playing Manchester United that night, and ordinarily this would be simply unmissable for me, but I could not watch it, as I would be in a pub exposed to the very beers I was seeking to avoid. The next day, I went right back to the exciting health cave and into those books again, making more notes. A switch had gone off inside me for sure. I do research in my job, I'm trained in it, I teach it to teachers, and I do it very well. I now had a new topic of interest to research and get my teeth into, and I just could not get enough of it that weekend. Health and wellness had entered my life big time, and as I soon learned, once this happens to a human being, it never leaves. It's a continuous part of one's life, but it's certainly no chore. I then drove home in the late afternoon through all the glorious nature of the mountains, feeling even more on top of the world than when I had arrived a couple of days back. The following Friday, I went out to the pub to play my pool league match and didn't have a single beer. It had now been 12 days without any alcohol, and my momentum carried me through the evening without incident. I wiped the floor with my opponent. I woke up early on Saturday morning feeling refreshed like never before on a Saturday morning. On Monday, I went back for my follow-up appointment. It was as if I'd had a body transplant since my previous visit. A man of verve, vim and vigour I was. My mind felt razor sharp and in fine spirits. No backaches, a full night's sleep each night, a flexible body. All bloody marvellous it was. How good life was. And, dear friend, I was thoroughly enjoying my meals. This healthy food was not boring. The same two girls happily greeted me and wired me up to the bioenergetics machine again to measure my readings a second time. More miracles unfolded. I keenly watched the needle for each reading, and guess what? Just one reading went up to the 100 mark, and it did so without any screeching sounds, while all the others were in the sort of 50 to 70 range. That did it for me. This machine was the real thing. Its readings matched my inner feelings in body and mind. Due to my teaching work at postgraduate level, which requires of me a scrupulous approach to avoid making any wrongful claims without supporting evidence, and my natural desire to see things in action for myself, so I can speak from personal first-hand experience, I was overjoyed to see the machine was clearly a quite brilliant diagnostic tool for health problems. Why did they not have such machines in all hospitals? I wondered naively. It turned out the one reading of 100 was for my liver, and the lady doctor said the liver takes much longer to rejuvenate itself. But just 2 weeks of dietary changes and I clearly had a body brimming with inner health, in contrast to the overheated, sorry state it had been in. The lady doctor was clearly chuffed to see my progress. I will never ever forget her. She started me off on this health and wellness journey I've now been on for over 15 years. Epilogue. Nearly 4 weeks after my first meeting with her, I broke my beer fast. I had 1 litre of Heineken beer in the evening, as it was my favourite Thai festival, Loi Krathong. The next morning I felt not very good at all, as if my life force had been depleted and sucked out of me. There's no way I could be hungover from so little beer, I thought to myself, and so I learned a new thing. The toxins in the beer had entered a clean body, and my body rebelled. A new wellness-focused chapter in my life begins. And thus began a new phase to my life, proactively seeking out healthy ways of living. It was a heady adventure for me, full of discoveries and rewards. Since that day in late October 2008 and ongoing, I've done thousands upon thousands of hours of research into nutrition, a whole range of healthcare modalities, and various alternative natural medicines and treatments. My research journey quickly led me down the rabbit hole of the pharmaceutical and food corporations and how they literally create ill health in both body and mind in all of us ordinary human beings. What I began learning about them would in the past have enraged and outraged me, but crucially at the turn of the century I had spent much time investigating the spiritual dimension to life, specifically to counter the rages I felt back in the 90s, reading about corporate and political crimes from powerful Western nations against other nations. Now I was able to read, for the most part dispassionately, but here were even greater crimes against humanity. I prefer books to the internet and have a whole library of them now, but I do also find many good quality websites. Chiang Mai has outstanding second-hand bookshops, and my 2 favourites were brimming with books on all possible aspects of food and how to live with wellness. I've kept food and feeling diaries, noting down everything I eat and drink each day for weeks or months at a time to investigate the links between foods and feelings in my own body. I've been on Reiki, Tai Chi, craniosacral therapy courses, done yoga programs, been to yoga festivals, and investigated and experienced all kinds of healthy pursuits firsthand. Always it's important to learn for myself by direct experience. That's how I teach others in my classrooms, and it's the best method of learning. My very favourite research subject and #1 guide to living with wellness is Ayurveda, and I have over a dozen books on this ancient healthcare system from India, but which is thoroughly relevant for our modern world. Ayurveda in Sanskrit means science of life. Ayurveda puts your healthcare into your own hands. And that, good friend, is priceless in this challenging world of ours. And that is a good ending to my 3-part tale. Now, in my actual written letter, which you can access from a link below, I then give you like a post-listening task, which you can do, and then a few more bits and pieces and so on, but I won't read those here. Now, finally, a final word. Next week, we'll be doing a diet special. I leave you one final piece of food for thought. What is the difference between going on a diet and changing your diet? Until next time, I bid you farewell. Have a great time and enjoy your wellness journey. Bye-bye for now.